Thank you so much, Alexis, also for being my support during this webinar. It's a pleasure to do an encore session because this webinar has already been shown, I think, 1 month ago. So welcome everybody again. As Alexis said, I hope you enjoy it. This webinar is based on my own experience, basically as a coach and also as a trainer for coaches. And well, I will start. This is inspiring metaphors for coach and trainers. That's the aim of the webinar. And I really hope you get inspired and also use my ideas and also create your own ideas. During the last webinar, after the webinar, I received a lot of emails from people who attended the webinar, and they were asking me if they use the metaphors. So, as to say, to copy some ideas, and I said, of course you can, otherwise I wouldn't be showing them. So the purpose of this is to share my ideas. They are not perfect, of course, they are just ideas that I put it into practice, and the feedback that I get from my clients and for my trainees, I mean the coaches that are doing certifications with me, is that it really works, because they memorize ideas, thoughts, feelings, and when it comes to be into the practice, they can remember the visualization of the metaphors, what I call the 3D metaphors, because they are physical, they are objects, and they can really give you good insights about a certain subject. So let's start, and I start to ask you, would you like to enter the incredible world of inspiring metaphors for coaches and trainers? Of course you do, otherwise you wouldn't be attending. So this is all about the power of simplicity, using a highly effective means of communication, which is the metaphor. So you can create your own metaphors to match your client's context and to help the clients to remember what they are committed to, and also to foster the self-learning during coaching sessions and during also classes where you, as a trainer, can be teaching somebody else how to learn something. So the 3D metaphors are the ones that I have created, and in fact I'm thinking about writing a book where I can explain it deeper and further. So to start, let's start with this webinar. Let me go back 20 years. So I was at the bridge, the new bridge. So my ground academic learning is engineering. And so I as an engineer, I was part of the team that were constructing the new bridge in Lisbon. And so I was 26 years. Now I'm 20 years older. So I hope I get smarter. And during the bridge, I'm talking about the bridge because I was wondering, where does it come from? Why have I developed during 20 years the ability to think about metaphors and to use also non-verbal communication methodologies? And I had an insight, which was during the bridge, I needed to talk with my colleagues at the broadcast yard and also under the Tagus River. There was a lot of noise because we were assembling the bridge, in fact, and I needed to talk with them. Sometimes they were very far away from me, so I used my hands, I used my fingers to tell them what I wanted, and that's where it started. And so it is based on the need to communicate with colleagues during work. And I'm showing you this picture because I found it in my house recently, and it is very interesting to remember these times. Here you can see my team, and I'm there between them. So I was the only lady on the broadcast yard, and on the image that you can see on your left, you can see myself doing the maneuvers of the bridge regarding the oil hydraulic system, and you can see the river down. So I was about 30 meters high at this stage. So you can see that a lot of noise was there, a lot of well, people were all working together, but not so close. So sometimes it was not so easy to communicate with the verbal language. Okay, so that's the beginning of everything I wanted to share. So first of all, what is a metaphor? So you can see that the word metaphor, it comes from Greek, and so meta meaning beyond. So you, with the metaphor, you can go beyond and carrying one people, a person from one place to another. So from a point of a less understanding context to another richer understanding context. So this is a figurative sense to the literal meaning of the metaphor. So what are metaphors? They are analogies, they can be stories, parables, popular sayings, also anecdotes, allegories, proverbs, and they allow access direct to unconscious resources. So that this is the richness of a metaphor. There's no need to explain, there's no need to give further words. You just use a metaphor and it goes directly to your unconscious resources that you have on your subconscious mind, which is great because it gets stick to your mind and it can also help you remember what you want as an anchor, for instance. So the metaphor. The metaphors also can join together with your brain, so you can use your left side of the brain, so because they are associated to your conscious side of the brain, which means they are connected with rationality, logic, and language perception. So everything that is literally understood, the direct word, the right direct context. And the right side that is more associated to the unconscious mind. So we are talking about intuition, creativity, also emotions. So this is figuratively understood. So you have two means or two doors to enter your brain to get associated with a metaphor and the power it contains. Okay. For instance, I'm showing an example of a metaphor used by a client. This was an executive, and we were doing the coaching session, and she said at a certain point, Alexandra, I prefer to be the head of an ant than the tail of an elephant. So what does it mean? I asked her. Yes, what do you mean by that? Well, what is it to be the head of a ant or to be the tail of an elephant? And she said, well, because at the present moment, I feel myself as a tail of an elephant because who is in charge of my destiny is the elephant, his head, and I'm more or less like the tail because people don't hear me at the office. I have very good ideas and I feel lost because there is a lack of communication and I cannot lead the process. On the other hand, if I am the head of a hand, well, I am in charge of a smaller business, but I'm in charge. I decide the future. I decide the vision, the values, the mission, and what we can do to get clients and to design the future of the organization. And this was the metaphor that the client offered. And, well, in the following sessions, we were always using the client's metaphor, of course, because you don't need further words. You just use it while you are asking as a coach. And during the other sessions, I was asking, well, we're talking about as the head of a hand or the tail of an elephant. And she realized that she was inside a metaphor. So the direct meaning for unconscious capacity to understand the language. So there is a rule in coaching because coaches use they use questions to ask clients about their reality, and when clients offer metaphors, that's time to do the backtracking. So the backtracking is the ability that the coaches use to ask a question using the exact words or chunks of words that the client is using. So there is a direct communication, okay? No noise between coach and client. That's what I've done. I can show you here another metaphor. This is a personal metaphor used by another client. And he said, I am a small tree right now at the present state. And where do you want to be? What do you want to be instead of that? He said, I want to be a full of confidence tree. So this is also a metaphor. And in the other sessions, followed by this one, I was always using his metaphor. So this client offered the metaphor. Another personal metaphor used by a client, well, I'd rather see horizons than being focused on the walls or the limitations. Of course, another rich sentence, which means there is a metaphor behind this, full of meaning for the client. Also, I use this metaphor to talk with the client and to ask him powerful questions. Okay? We have the verbal metaphors, which are words as metaphors. We have the non-verbal, which means you can use gesture, and you can also have artistic metaphors where you can draw things or you can build objects, as I do. So I'll talk about the 3D metaphors because you will see that I will use objects. So, and what is the goal of a metaphor? Why? Why do we use metaphors? For what purpose? Well, the first one is to get access to the unconscious resources. There are a lot of resources. Sometimes they are not aware of them. They are not so conscious. So with a metaphor, you have the key to get into the unconscious mind, which is wonderful because you have a lot of insights there. Not only for your clients, but also for yourself as a coach or as a trainer. And sometimes also the metaphors capture someone's attention. Even, well, right when they have visual impact, it's greater, his attention, and it raises memorization, of course, because our mind sometimes forgets about what we commit to, and when you have a metaphor, it is more likely that you will not forget about it, so you will remember. Also, to clarify themes, when they are complex, you can use metaphors as a language that simplifies complex things. Also, to neutralize limiting thoughts or beliefs, because when people focus on a metaphor, that has a real good power to enlighten people and to focus people on the solution. Sometimes we can neutralize limiting thoughts just to look at the metaphor or to use a metaphor, okay, due to its impact on the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind. And also to strengthen fantasy and creativity and appeal to pleasure. Of course, I think they can also be fun. During my trainings, where I certify people to be coaches, and also where I train people to be better leaders, or to know the power of communication, or for self-realization, happiness, and so on. Well, I have the feedback that my sessions are really, smiley sessions because I use humor and people like it. So they are surrounded by the wonderful world of colors and metaphors, and the learning process is very rich because people really get into a very insightful environment. And as I am getting a lot of results and a very good feedback from the point of view of those who receive these metaphors, I'm sharing with you because good ideas, they are worth spreading. And metaphors also, they have the ability to help people start to look inside themselves. That's another reason why I use metaphors. For instance, when people are in the track of the lack of resources because they say, I'm sad, I'm into stress, I have an anxiety, I am not feeling free. Well, sometimes I use metaphors to jump from this path to another path, which is the path of resources. And there are some resources that I offer people when they get to the path of the state of resources. For instance, when somebody says, I'm sad, and I ask that person, yes, well, what is sad? What is sadness for you? What is being sad? And then I ask people, what do you want instead of it? And they say, well, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. Okay, so what makes you happy? How can you see happiness in your reality? Can you give me an example? Can you specify that? And when people talk about what is being happy, for instance, then I use a metaphor for happiness. And sometimes I offer the client or ask him to choose between a range of metaphors, a 3D metaphor that I will show you right in a few minutes. And the client chooses it, and well, yes, that's great. So the client gets out of the session reaching a new insight about what is the state of resources. Because everybody who is able to run coaching processes as clients, they really want to improve something in their lives. And nobody wants to be worse in life. Otherwise, they wouldn't be engaged in the coaching process. So the aim here is always to grow, to get bigger in self-esteem, for instance, in self-confidence, and to be happier. So to reach goals and also to get the work-life balance. Right. So what's needed? What is needed to work with metaphors? Passion is needed, of course. So I've split the word passion and pass it on, because it's really what I'm doing. I'm passing it on. I'm showing you the power of metaphor and some examples that really works for me, okay, and for my clients. Also, flexibility is needed because you need to be flexible. Sometimes, as I say, I'm walking through the street and I get to a shop where I see some metaphors, and sometimes I tell people, well, I don't buy metaphors, objects, I would say. They buy me, because they jump into my hands and say, hello, Alexandra, I know you will be needing this very soon. So sometimes I buy some objects. I don't know why. I just feel something about this, something to share. So, wow, I have this great metaphor to show to this client. Of course, I have a bag of metaphors that I carry, yes. So ideas are needed, okay? The metaphors don't close themselves in this session that I'm showing you. Of course, you are very resourceful and you have your own metaphors. And please create metaphors and get some new ones, and use the old objects that you have at home, at your office, and see them anew. I mean, look at them with a new perspective, change it so that you can move to the next stage of using them as a metaphor in your coaching sessions. Okay? Great. Let me show you a drawing about the definition of coaching that was drawn by my daughter Anna at the age of 11. She was very upset because she couldn't understand what was her mommy doing. Where are you going, mommy? I'm going to work. So working what? Doing coaching, as you know. Yes, and what is coaching all about? But I said, well, one day you will understand that it is helping people to take the best themselves and to put it into action based on great values. So helping people to get their goals and remembering the sustainable values between the path. And well, Anna was looking at me like, okay, one of these days I will understand. And one of those days, it really happened. Now Anna is 16, almost 16, so this was 5 years ago. And I was cooking at my kitchen, and she entered the kitchen and said, Mommy, I finally understood what coaching is, so can you come to my room because I draw it. And I was there, it was Anna's room, and I saw this drawing, and I said, what is it? And she said, you are helping people based on this metaphor, Mommy, because everybody we have inside ourselves two parts. One part is sad and is worried and has negative feelings and thoughts, and the other part is a little bit happy, sometimes full, but always seeing positive things in life. And you are helping people to choose what part of the heart they are going to put their attention, isn't it? And I said, right, that's coaching. So also kids have a strong ability to build metaphors. And I said, please, Anna, give me that drawing because I will use it to show people that you at the age of 11 definitely have reached the definition of coaching, imperfection. That's it. That's what coaches do, because we are not avoiding people to deal with the sad part of people, with the part that is always worried. We are just putting it together and helping people to choose where they want to put their attention, because the energy flows where your attention goes. And so we, as humankind, we will always have these two energies inside of ourselves, because life is a challenge. So it's not neglecting one of the parts or erasing them. It's just integrating the parts, right? So this is my bag of 3D metaphors. As you see, I'm always with the bag. Oh, yes, and I have a car, so I'm not just always carrying it in my hand, but it is full of metaphors. And when I go to a coaching session, I will carry my bag, and I will use the metaphors that I think they are really fitting what the client is saying. Okay, I don't use it, all of them at the same time, of course. Let me see the first one. We have a boomerang. This is a 3D metaphor to talk about the balance take and give. And so I believe it is a universal law as the gravity. This is another one. So if you saw potatoes, you will not spoon latches, so you will get latches. Latches if you soak latches, of course. And so this is the balance between take and give. So if you focus on positive, you will connect to the positive path, and your brain will focus on the positive, on the solutions. So this is very important when people have bad feelings to show the boomerang. Do you know the power of a boomerang? So if you throw the boomerang, it will come back to you. That's how it works. And so helping people to realize that when they have negative feelings about somebody or about something, they will not get a solution, but they will increase the power of negativity and bad feelings. So they will be much far away from the solution. Okay, I use this metaphoric drawing, which is we have the path of victimization, where people are really engaged with the problem, with complaining, with what is not working, with the failure. So everything that really doesn't help people to grow. So this is a negative focus, of course, the losing cycle, I would say. And then we have another path, which is the path where you are the author of your life. So here you focus solutions. You are the cause of what you are co-creating. You are running into the winning cycle. So you focus resources, what is possible, what you are able of, what you deserve, and you just move forward your goals, okay? And that's what coaching is about, is to refocus your attention to the more resourceful path for you, okay? So the question is, what do I want instead in my life if I am working and feeling and being as a victim, okay? And what can we do? Well, we can use a 3D metaphor. So I have here the Mr. Problem. This is a toy that I bought in the shop. So this is Mr. Problem. As you see, he has a red face. So the eyes are not at the same direction. Hair hat. So this is Mr. Problem. So he's a post degree. He has a post degree in problems. So there is a mindset of a victim here. And what do we want instead of that? We want to focus on our mindset. And I call it Mr. Results mindset. So I'm focusing on my results. So you see a much happier guy here. It's colored pink. And that's the two toys that I always carry with me. So they are very tiny, and they do some funny noise, and they are perfect. And sometimes coaches, when I run the international certifications by the ICC, they tell me, Alexandra, Mr. Problem and Mr. Results were perfect, because while I was working as a coach after the training, I remember the Mr. Problem and Mr. Results. So I could follow the question and I could ask a powerful question to my client, which was, what do we want instead of that? Are you focusing in a Mr. Problems dynamic or mindset, or do you want really to be in the path of the Mr. Results or Mr. Solutions, if you wish? So these two guys. I carry them all the time because they are very powerful for coaching also, and also for training. Yes, because sometimes in companies, when I do team coaching interventions, I can see that the people, the leader and the direct reports that I have there, sometimes they complain, and sometimes they are pointing to other people, waiting for the solution to come from outside. And so, as a metaphor of this, they start asking, "Oh, do you want to perform Mr. Results or Mr. Problem?" Okay. Well, I have a hardware here. This is the next hardboard that I've constructed, and it is a metaphor for changing thoughts. So when you are thinking about negative thoughts, you can change the limiting thoughts, saying a word to your mind, which is, you must control your mind, and you can say next. So next, as an order to say to your mind, please, next thought. And I prefer that the next thought can be better, much better than this one that is negative. So when I use this metaphor and I talk with the client, sometimes I use this hardboard and just show the client. I don't say anything, and the client knows, okay, I will think better way, and I will deal with my mind to get another thought better one. Okay, I have this metaphor. This is a rubber, a stress rubber, which is called the boss, and it is used when my client wants to be in lead, he wants to improve leadership abilities, and he says, "I want to be the boss of myself." And so I put this boss into the client's hand and say, "So feel it right now. Feel that you have a boss in your hand. So what does it mean for you?" And the client starts saying a lot of things about what it means to be the boss. It's wonderful also, this metaphor. Diamonds, oh my God, diamonds. They have a huge impact in my clients, not only in the executive coaching sessions, but also in the team coaching interventions. And when people reach insights and they are really on the path of missing results, or on the path of getting to the solutions, they are very in the state of resources. They have self-confidence. They are motivated. They are happy because they are seeing the light, and then, or they are talking about their own qualities. Then I show them the diamonds, and I give them the diamonds. And I say, "Please remember the diamond inside of yourself. You have a diamond inside, which has the qualities that you are reporting right now, that you are discovering yourself. So remember to appeal to those qualities when you touch your diamonds." And this is used as an anchor also. So you have bigger diamonds, and the ones that are smaller, I use them when I have a lot of people in the team, and the bigger ones when I do executive coaching one-to-one sessions. They are really good anchor. Okay. Oh, of course they are made of glass, but what this is, the impact is about the object. Okay, and what does it mean behind that? So for the winners of life, and when I have a client or people at a team coaching intervention, when those people, they say, "Well, now I understand my value. Now I really want to be in charge of my life. I really want to be moving forward towards action step, to do this stepping towards my goal." And sometimes I offer them this award as you got right, great, people like it. I have a lot of them in different colors. I have green, blue, red, and yellow. So I also buy this at some shops. So you can also find in your territory. It's just a way of going around and see. Or else you can do yourself the word in paper or another material. Okay, let me show you another example of a hand, and the hand is a very good metaphor because we have hands. Okay, so it is, we have the calm on the palm of my hand. So this is a metaphor for calm. As I used to say, this is a very scarce resource. This is water, the future, but the calm, because we have a society that is full of stress, and we have executives, women and men. They are very stressed today. almost in burnout, and so calm will be the most wanted resource. And so I use the fingers as a metaphor to say in 5 steps, what can I do as an anchor? What can I say as an anchor? What can I use as an anchor that is right in my hand? Nobody owns it. I own it in my hand. So the first one is saying. This is a verbal metaphor and also a 3D metaphor using the hand. And so people say, I think calmly. Of course, when we need to be calm. Okay? And the other finger, the ring finger, will be, I speak calmly. You need to think, and you also need to speak to people. That's why there is a lack of communication between people, because people don't speak calmly sometimes. Okay? Of course, calmly means also with respect. Okay? So the third thing will be, I act calmly. So I do things on a calmly fashion, or a calmly way. Okay? And not only acting, but also reacting to life, which is mean so that we can see if somebody's developed. Okay? Not only doing things, but how do you react to certain movements in your life, such as an accident, people that are shopping with you, and well, some problem in your life. So I react calmly, fourth finger. And finally, to close the hand, I can say that only the calm benefits me. Okay? Can be a benefit to me. So this is more or less like a anchor, where people can use it to talk with themselves, and to use it as a metaphor. And it is working perfectly, because there are executives that tell me, Alexandra, it worked because I was entering a meeting where I knew there was the other colleagues, the other partners, directors, and some leaders of the company, little leaders, and the environment was not so friendly. And so I started to talk to myself and say, I think calmly, I speak calmly, I act calmly, I react calmly, only the calm can benefit myself, and it worked. Because suddenly I discharged the calm in my heart. So I was able to control my emotions, to manage it during the meeting. Okay, great. Okay, let's continue. If you prefer, you can use handshake post-its and your coachee or the person you are working with, for instance, in a training. Can write at the fingers of the post-its. Okay, you can write everything, anything you want, in 5 steps, as you see here. And also, I'm showing you an example, a vivid one. This is an example of a teacher that was certified by me in Portugal. She works with children, and her function is very important in the society, because she's raising and helping education of the future leaders of our society, and so they draw the hand, and they put some drawings, as you see on the top of the fingers, and they just wrote, I learn with calm, I work with calm, I play with calm, I'm doing the tradition, the tradition from Portuguese to, the translation from Portuguese to English. I hit with calm, because sometimes kids, it's very fast. And the last finger is just only calm can benefit me. So it's wonderful. This was done by a kid at school. And so as you see, teachers are also using the metaphor of the hand, inspired by the one that I showed you previously. The ear. Well, this is a plastic ear, and when leaders or clients reach to a point where the solution for their themes or problems is, I need to listen to people, because I don't listen to people. And when the client reaches that conclusion, sometimes as an anchor, I offer him this here. And it has a huge impact, because he starts using it in its notebook, in its clothes, and it really works at workplace. It's wonderful also, because listening is the most important ability for a coach, as you know, and also for leaders, because sometimes leaders don't listen, they don't pay attention, and they start analyzing people, they start giving solutions to their direct reports, and so being an ear with legs is wonderful. When you hear others, you can put yourself into others' shoes and you can help people in a much deeper way because you really start to understand what people need to say, their doubts, their questions, their insights, and you start being a leader coach, for instance. Okay, let me show you the emergency kits. This is a metaphor for also for the ability of listening, which is as a coach, if you are a coach, when you are performing a coaching session, one of the greatest abilities you have is just to stop, okay, the impulsive need to complete the coach's sentences or to give answers as a consultant. If that was your former job. And so the emergency kit is wonderful for coaches. What's it inside? What is it? What is it? So let me show you. We open the emergency kit and wow, you have a band-aid. What for? This is a big one to stick it into your big mouth. Okay, so this is used as a metaphor also during the international coaching certification trainings, and I use it. And this is very good for coaches because they sometimes come from the consultancy field. They start to put this as a metaphor. Of course, they visualize what's inside the box. And sometimes when I do the supervision of the coaching sessions, I just show them the box that they know they are talking too much. Okay, this is also wonderful. Well, the key issue. I have a real key. This is made of rubber. And sometimes when the clients get a lot of work, they are very worthy, and they get this passion during the coaching session. And sometimes I show them the key. I can ask, "What is your key issue? What do you really, really want? Can you say what is the key for your subject today?" And it really works as the key issue. The on-off button, it's amazing also because sometimes we think we can disconnect people from their feelings and from their thoughts. It's not possible. Okay, so I use this on-off button as a metaphor to show people that it's not possible to work with people as if they were a machine. So on-off button works with machines, of course. We have on a daily basis in our home, in our offices, but it's not the same with people. So you cannot disconnect somebody. It's just to remember that and to work with people, knowing that you need to help people to, first of all, be conscious of their emotion, and then be aware that they can manage emotions, okay, and feelings and thoughts, of course, and be in control of the mind. The handcuffs, I use it also. When some client tells me, I'm not feeling free, I feel that it's like I have handcuffs, and I don't want this, I really don't want this. And well, sometimes when the client repeats it and continues to repeat this state of mind, I use these handcuffs, and I really apply that to the client. So this is very vivid, and you will remember this feeling of being like a prisoner, you know. And so he said, "What is this?" "Well, this is what you are talking about. I'm just representing it in your life. So this is very vivid. Is that what you want for your life?" "No, I don't want it." "So what do you want instead?" And of course, the client will release himself or herself from the handcuffs, because this is playing handcuffs, not real ones, of course, right? Like a metaphor. The garbage can is the classic metaphor, because we really need to throw out expectations about people. That's why we have a lot of frustration in the world, because we are always expecting things from people, and coaching is about helping people not to live under the expectations of others, but first of all, dealing with others, connecting with common goals. Okay, so not working with expectations, instead of that, working with goals and clarifying goals between people so that they can look in a team, for instance, or in a couple, to the same side of the wall, which means the same goal. Okay, not staring at each other, finding problems and what is not working, but being side by side, looking at the same goals. Okay, so one of the first metaphors I use in my trainings is really helping future coaches to throw away the expectations about lives. And so they put the expectations that they have written on paper into the garbage can. Okay, and they remember that forever because this is very vivid. So they have to do the movement. They need to stand. Well, they say like, wow, okay, now I understand. Okay, the tree, another metaphor that I use for a lot of reasons. You can see, for instance, results in a person's life. Imagine a leader of a company. We see huge results. He has a very healthy company, very happy people. And so you see the fruits and the leaves and the branch. And then you see the trunk, which is the structure, work, hard working, discipline, or organized mind, you know. And sometimes we don't see the roots. So there are people that say, wow, that person is very lucky in life. No, it's not about lucky. Don't trust your lucky. Trust your hard work. Trust your need to be focused on what you want and also to be happy and do the work-life balance. Of course, this is one metaphor I can use with the tree. The other one is to explain the values that we receive from our parents, okay, on the base of the trunk. And then the trunk is the experience we have in life. And then you have the branch and the leaves. And the leaves, they during the fall season, they are not there. So this part of the tree is changing. Okay, the fruits, sometimes the tree has fruits in springtime, for instance, and then in the winter there are no fruits and no leaves. So this changing part can be a metaphor for limiting beliefs. We can change our limiting beliefs. We cannot change our experience because it is past. We have had that experience. And we cannot change also our values, only the hierarchy of the values, because they are very profound during childhood. Okay? And so the tree is also a very good metaphor. The elephant, oh my God, this elephant is awesome during the trainings, because when they raise elephants in India, they put a rope on an elephant, and the elephant, when the elephant is very small, he has the notion that he has no strength to throw the rope away, and so he gets stimulated by the rope saying, when you feel the rope is stretched, you cannot move forward. So you are here, you are a prisoner. And then when the elephant grows as an adult, he continues to feel the rope, and he was stimulated to think that when I feel the rope, I must stand. And he continues to do that as an adult. And he could break the rope instantly because now he's very strong in the adulthood, but he doesn't do that. So sometimes I use this metaphor to explain people that the old beliefs and basically limiting beliefs doesn't serve me today. And so we sometimes behave as this elephant with a rope connected and attached to the past. And it would be easier if we could find our strengths today, because today we are more mature, we are adults, and we can really get rid of limiting beliefs. Okay, so imagine sometimes the client sets an objective, and for instance, he wants to have a certain weight, and he wants to lose weight. Okay, so imagine I want to weigh 60 kilos. Okay, that's an example of an objective. And then I talk with the client to explore what can be limiting the client to reach these goals. And so I talk about the mind. How does the mind works? Because our mind is extraordinary when we are in control of our mind. When we are not in control of our mind, the mind controls us, of course, because we start to have the mindset of a victim. And so I use this metaphor. I don't know if you already heard them. It is the 3 ladies of the mind. So this is a creation of myself. So you have the lady temptation, very sexy, on the resting breath. And so you will be tempted to not follow your diet. If you are used to eat a very good and tasty chocolate cake, you will have lady temptation knocking on your door, and you are not stick to your goal. You forget about your goal, so you have a distraction, and The reason for that is me, is lady temptation, the lady that really lives inside your mind. And the other one, which is the twin sister of lady temptation, is lady excuses. And you start saying excuses. Oh, it's just this time. Tomorrow I will start the diet tomorrow. You know, so you start postponing your objective. And then you have another cousin of this lady, which is the lady demotivation. So you have the first two, lady temptation and lady excuses. They are twins, and they work together, and they are very smart if you are not aware of them. And then later on, you have lady demotivation saying, "Oh, it's not for me. I can do it. I cannot do it." Okay, so this is like a drawing. I use this in the PowerPoint when I do team coaching. You can also have these drawings. So this lady here wants to reach the goal of losing weight, but look, she was assaulted by lady temptation, so she cannot resist the old chips, and, you know, so it will taste so good. This is the first lady. The second lady of the mind is lady excuses. So it's only this time, so I will start the diet tomorrow, as I said previously, and then you get demotivated. Of course I cannot. It doesn't work with me. So I get demotivated, and my objective has no longer the energy of my focus. Okay, so I'm not reaching the goal at all. And then you can see me talking about the three ladies of the mind, because I perform a program in Portugal, which is an online TV program. And you have the three ladies here. As you can see, the one in the red dress, this is a 3D metaphor, the lady temptation here. You see, this is a support for rings for women, but I use it as the three ladies of the mind. You have lady excuses, and you have lady demotivation on the black dress here. So I am talking about this in Portugal. People really like this, and sometimes they give me feedback about, "Oh, Alexandra, I was assaulted by the three ladies of the mind. So I'm aware of this now, and I can overcome this. So I will be in control of these ladies, because they are really, really very smart." Okay, the emotional baggage. I don't know if I have shown this back before. I use this also as an example, because sometimes we carry emotional baggage during years, and we want to change ourselves, our patterns of thought, our patterns of action, and we are not being able to let it go. So we have a lot of emotional baggage that doesn't fit our present goals. What is inside the bag? You can see that you have fears, fear of public speaking, fear of that, fear of talking to your boss, fear of not being loved, you know, worries, a lot of worries. Oh my God, worries, it is the worst disease that we have nowadays in our lives. Negative feelings and thoughts. And we have hate. Sometimes we hate people, and it doesn't put us in a better situation for personal improvement, to really connect people. And also we have love feelings, peaceful feelings, and also positive feelings. So please take away the negative feelings, the hate, the worries, and the fears, and just leave the ones that really put you on the path of resources, like Mr. Results that we have seen previously. Okay, so you need to just leave the emotions that really foster your growth, that really puts you on the right track. Okay, and I use it. Sometimes I use humor, and I use these this kind of guns. When people don't change language patterns, and first I talk with people, and we exchange ideas about using the right words. For instance, I want to lose weight, but, so when the but word starts, you are erasing what you have previously said. And so when people know about this, the power of the but, which is eliminating what your goals, your focus on your goals, and you can use a better connection, which is, well, I know this is challenging for my life, and I know I can get the resources to get there. So the connection and it is much better than the connection but. And when people know that, and sometimes they talk but, I start to use the gun. This is a metaphor for, oops, I'm not saying the right word. Yes, well, can you repeat that? And the person repeats the sentence, saying the right linguistic words, so that that person can achieve the goal, because language is a way of showing what we are thinking about. That's through language we can access what is in the mind of the person, okay? When people say, if I get this, I will do that. So when you use ifs, and instead of that, you could use when I do this, I will reach that. So when is much powerful, and it doesn't put you in doubt. On the contrary, when you use the if word, it puts you in doubt. So when people know that, because we do trainings about that, and they forget about that, I just showed again, and wow, that's a metaphor for yes, 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 let's say it again, and I will change the wording. The inner game, of course, Timothy Galloway in 1974, sorry, he talked about the inner game of tens, because the inner opponents are the ones that really are aggressive to stop you from getting your goals. So I use the inner game as a metaphor, using this tennis ball. Okay. Also the masks. I use a lot of masks to tell people, or to use this as a metaphor. So can you take your mask off? And sometimes people really talk about their problems or issues when they have the mask put on. So behind the mask I can talk. So I use the masks as a metaphor also. The magnifying glass also, when people they are not clear about what they want, I use this magnifying glass and say, can you be clear about that? Can you do a zoom to your reality? Okay, so this is a 3D metaphor. Also the sandwich feedback method, you have a drawing here. So you start with reinforcing feedback, and you see the positive aspects of some observable behavior that the person is performing. And then to give feedback, of course, you start to ask, can I give you feedback? Of course, but then you jump to the first layer of the sandwich, and then you use a hand or just a dot, a point. You don't say the but word, and then you jump to the reinforcing feedback. What would I have done if I were you, for instance? So you can talk about the aspects to be improved, and then you finish your feedback using some positive thoughts and foster motivation of the person that is receiving feedback. Okay, and so this is also reinforcing feedback, and I also use this during the certification trainings. I use this 3D metaphor, which is a sandwich, a vivid one. This is very big, like a pillow. This is a pillow in the shape of the sandwich, and I throw it to coaches that are not able to do the sandwich feedback method, and they get the sandwich and they realize that, oh, okay, I will use the sandwich feedback method. Okay, the Clapperboard, when I need a second take for a client that is showing me with his or her body, what does it mean when he says, for instance, I need to improve my leadership skills or my commercial skills, and what is that? And the person doesn't know how to explain me right. And so I say, okay, so show me. How do you do sellings? Can you show me? And after we do some trainings about improving the way to communicate, to approach a client, then we can use this Clapperboard, which is fantastic and people love it. Okay. The Miraculous Coaching Magic Potion, I use it when people get insights and they say, wow, now I realize what can I do with my life, and I know now I understand what coaching is. Oh my God, I understood the tools, I understood the methodology, and sometimes I use the Miraculous Coaching Magic Potion because I use it. Yes, now you have it in your DNA, so it's in your blood, and you don't need extra injections. Okay. The intuition antenna, I really use it when people ask me, Alexandra, how will I know when the client is feeling something, or when do I know how to ask the right question? When do I know something like this or like that? And I just put this intuition antenna on the top of the head of the person and say, you will use also your intuition, because coaching is not only about structure, it's also about connecting with the feel of the client and do the rapport, which you are doing the connection, the deep connection with your client. So you are not just connecting with your thoughts, but also with your antenna, your intuition antenna. This is great, this antenna, it works. The light bulb of insights. When somebody tells me, wow, I just had an aha moment, an insight, and I use this lamp. This is a false lamp, but it really gets light because it has a button down. And I just put it on, and I said, wow, you have just had an insight. So like this, with a lamp in your hand, and it is very fun also. People like it. Okay. Sometimes I use this 3D brain. This is a metaphor. This is an object that is used for students to learn how the brain works. And I really talk about the amygdala inside that is connected to our control of emotions and memories. And I use the metaphor for the three halves that we sometimes, when we have a sudden object falling on our shoulders, we can fight, we can flight, or we can freeze. And so I talk about the neuroscience, and I also use the brain for that purpose. The other thing is using letters in your training room. This is wonderful because people are surrounded by messages. Sometimes subtle message, sometimes direct message. Love is all you need. Sometimes I use it, and I have here some training classes, and you can see the name of my company, Premium Coaching. In Portugal, this is Premium Coaching, and so I stick the letters on the wall, and also we love ICC. Yes, other kind. Or you can see the next table. Yes, the next words, and also another one in the blue. You cannot see, but it is benefits me. It is the question. Okay, so people are always. These are students from the International Coaching Certification, and they are always surrounded by messages, which is wonderful. And just to finish, because I know I don't know if I'm running out of time. This is me. You can see a housemaid at the Congress in Punta Cana, organized by Sonia Colombo, the wonderful trainer for the Dominican Republic. And I was performing a metaphor of mine, which is called the Marian Onion. It is a lady that has a victim mindset, and she is always complaining about her potential. She has a great potential, but she's complaining because she's a housemaid and she is full of other resources that are not being shown yet. So this is a stage performance because I really love it, and I challenge myself to go beyond the limits of my courage, because this is a very executive congress, and well, you can imagine that I bring some humor and this vivid metaphor. So this is a risky one, but well, I really like to challenge myself, because as I am a trainer and a coach, I'm not just talking about resources. I really want to show that it is possible for me also to move forward and to do things that are very creative, okay, and go beyond some limits of what is called normal, So this is a metaphor. This is a stage metaphor. Then the housemaid, when she was asked powerful questions from the audience, she starts to take her clothes away, and then she transforms herself into an executive, as you see. But then the executive has thrown the clothes away, but now she has a problem because she's surrounded by computers, by meetings, by timetables, by shovels, and well, she's getting burnout, and she starts to ask people from the audience, please help me with the coaching, and people start coaching her, and she takes another layer of clothes. That's why, because she's married onion with layers, and so at the end I am, as you see, without shoes, without any kind of computers or laptops or whatever, just dressed in black with a big heart in the center of my body, saying, I just want to love and to be loved. Okay, so this is a great metaphor. Also in Santiago Compostela, with the Spain trainer, which is Daniel Alvarez Lamas, an excellent trainer, and he invites me a lot to go to Santiago Compostela working with him, which is great. So we exchange a lot of ideas and dynamics and workshops. And so here I am performing the Observer, which is also a vivid metaphor with my body, and it represents a very, very old man, okay, with all dressed in black, and as an observer of the world, of the seeds of control of the mindset of people. And so he says, please, I am tired, I want to retire, so can you please help me, send me to retirement, because I would like you to be in your own control of your own minds. So this is the metaphor, okay. I have some, as you see, is going also to take the clothes off. I don't know why I have that tendency to have these personages with a lot of clothes, and then they take it off as getting rid of layers. You know, it was performing La Victima, the victim, and then here a closer zoom of the observer. So I'm all dressed up as I was an actress, you know, and I really love this kind of metaphoric scenes. And then I also use balloons so that people can blow into the balloon all the worries they have. And then they play with the balloons. I put some music, and at the end, if they want, they blow the balloon up. So they get rid of worries as a metaphor. This is also very, very nice metaphor. Here, you can see me with Andrea Lages, the extraordinary master coach and co-founder of the ICC. And I had the pleasure to be with Andrea at the same conference in Spain this year with Daniela Perez Lama also. And as you can see on the left side of the picture, you have a hat. This is a lady's hat. I picked it from my hairdressers. So what does it mean? It means that I use it as a metaphor. Do you think for your own head, or do you need the head of somebody else outside of you? So I call it Jessie. In fact, yesterday I was performing the team coaching intervention, and the name was not Jessie, but then we get to the conclusion that we could call this lady Jessie. So are you thinking from your own head? Do you have your own ideas, or are you worried about what Jessie's saying? So please get inside your head and jump into your personal power. That's the message. And then here you see me with an executive of a company. I do executive coaching also with her, and she became also my big friend. And as you see, you have a smiley object between us, and I really use it as a metaphor for happiness. This is a choice of us. We can put this smile also in our faces. Okay. And finally, this is a drawing made by a group of coaches that were being certified, and so they also draw the metaphors they saw during the coaching certification. As you see, the waste paper basket here, okay, the brain and the emotional baggage, and with the tools. And well, this is a roadmap, and I really like them to draw and to use metaphors, and they really find it useful. Okay, so I think I have reached the end of my presentation. I'm very sorry if I was talking too fast sometimes, because I know that I just had 1 hour. So at the moment, I will ask, is there any thoughts or questions? And I also leave you here my email or my phone if you want to reach me and to, well, share ideas or any thoughts, okay?
Excellent, Alexandra. So you will be answering questions through your email.
Sorry, Alex?
You will be answering questions through your email after the session, or will you be looking at some questions right now?
No, they can ask if the audience prefers, they can ask me right now, but then after the webinar, I'm also available through my email. So no, I'm available for questions, yes.
Okay, good. So, well, if there are any questions about the topic, about the examples, or any question you may have, now's the time. You can write it on the questions panel on the application, and let's give it a minute and
okay.
Questions. There are no questions so far.
Okay. Yes, people need to process the ideas, and yes, and if they need, they can ask later on. Okay, but we can wait a little bit.
Well, and while we wait for some questions, I would like to remind everyone that we have our coaching congress in Lima, Peru, next October 7th and 8th. Today is the last day of a special prize, so if you can and if you want to attend in Lima, Peru, then now's the chance to go online and buy your ticket. And of course, we would see you there. We'll be happy to see you there on our coaching congress. There seems to be a question now. Yes, Anna is asking if have you had a client who didn't want to attend in a metaphor?
Oh yes, sometimes clients say, well, I understand the metaphor, but I don't need it. And so I said, okay, it was just an idea because I offer a metaphor, but it's not, the client is not has not the obligation to use it. So yes, sometimes it happens, and we continue. And sometimes what happens is that after that period or on a second session, the client says, oh, I remember that metaphor that you showed me previously. I really understood now the power of it in my life. So sometimes it's not so direct. But the normal case is that clients really enjoy metaphors. But sometimes it happens, yes, it's true.
And Alexandra, I'm going to participate with a question as well. Do you normally explain to your coachees at the beginning before you start the process, and do you explain about metaphors and the importance of them?
Well, it depends, because when I'm doing the coaching session, I don't really explain the power of a metaphor, or that I'm going to use metaphors, but because I use the surprise factor. When I explain the metaphors and the power of metaphor is during the international coaching certification trainings or during my coaching, the team coaching interventions. And so I prefer to see the impact about the metaphor when I use it. Okay. Then I explain it after that, because I really want that the impact be on the level of the heart or the deep meaning, and then it comes to use the mind and to use thoughts to explain or to explore on a deeper level that kind of metaphor. This is when I use metaphor that I offer the client, but be aware that I really also use the metaphors that are being used by the client himself or herself. Okay, and so sometimes I match that metaphor the client is using, not only doing the backtracking, which is using the same words when I'm asking powerful questions, but also sometimes I draw the metaphor, or for coincidence, I have a metaphor in my 3D bag metaphors. So it happens like that.
Interesting. Thank you. There seem to be no more. No. Anna is asking actually a follow-up question, and she asks if there are any basic rules for using a metaphor.
Well, I think that the first rule is that we need to respect the client. Okay, so the metaphors need to be respectful, and they need to be used on the right moment, and to be matching the client's topic or context. And the other one is that metaphors need to have a positive impact on the client, even though they might have the impact of the context, like the handcuffs I've shown you before. Okay, because to be a prisoner is not a good metaphor. But when the client insists on talking about the limiting beliefs, I'm a prisoner, I'm not free, I sometimes use the metaphor for contrast. So you need to be aware if that is the right moment, if you have self-confidence to do that, because the coaching session always needs to be put into the framework of the resources at the end. So you always need to end on a positive path for the client. I think connecting thoughts, positive thoughts, and also positive feelings. So the state of mind must be very positive. So the rule is like that: the respect, okay, doing it on the right moment. So you need to be very intuitive, and also you need to have some passion about metaphors. That's my case. I really am a very metaphoric person, and I am also known as the metaphoric trainer. I use a lot of metaphors. I have some coaches, professional coaches, that have repeated the certification just to see another way of performing of running the certification, because they know that I use metaphors, and so they were doing it twice just to see, to focus on metaphors, to enrich their insights and vision about the coaching process. But the rules, I think, these are the rules. And, yes, the metaphors must be polite, of course, respectful, and very positive, and you need to be passionate about them and be self-confident also to talk about the metaphors and to show the metaphors, the 3D metaphors.
Well, excellent. Well, I think we're running out of time, and there seem to be no more questions for now. Alexandra,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you also, Alexis, and sorry to be so late attending. For the next time, I will be 15 minutes earlier. Okay.
And thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you for attending. Thank you for being here, and we will be seeing you soon in our upcoming webinars and hopefully in our Congress. Have a great
Okay. Many thanks, Alexis.
Alexandra. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you later.